If we could all take a seat, and if somebody could invite those who are still in the hallway back in. Part of the great value of this conference and the reason that we host this annually is for our opportunity to come together and to spend time together and see each other face to face. It's also usually our one opportunity of the year where we get to speak with each other, ask questions in that interpersonal way, and it's an opportunity for us to hear from our board chair. And so without further ado, I'd like to introduce Sister Angela, who will start us off on the state of the organization.
Good morning, everyone. It is my pleasure this morning to share with you some CWR highlights from the past year. We have seen again an exciting growth of our organization in the past year, and this is because of all of you, the members, who make CWR a great place for us. Collaboration, cooperation, sharing, engagement, and caring. These are the words that come to my mind when I think about CWR. No one is ever left alone with a project or a problem or crisis. When we reach out, we always find at least one person in a group who is willing to send the information, the document, the phone number we need, or simply share their own experience. Just recently, Tammy Townsend-Kais, communications director for my community, sent me an email regarding arrangements she was making with another CWR member to discuss a video project. She ended with a sentence that made my heart smile. She said, "Yet another reason why I love CWR." Undeniably, the strength of CWR lies in our members. Even though we might notice what some call diminishment in a number of our congregations, our CWR membership continues to grow. Here are some numbers. As you can see, compared to 10 years ago, there are 60 more individual members and 15 less associate members, partially due to the redefined membership levels. All in all, there are 45 more CWR members than in 2007. Geographically, there are 186 members in the United States, 11 members in Canada, 10 members in Ireland, 3 in Italy, and we have 1 token member in Australia. As you know, we have recently redefined the membership categories to strengthen the organization even more. We recognize that there are many individuals and organizations who work in various capacities to further the mission of Catholic sisters, and having them as colleagues within CWR can enrich all of us and support our mission. I personally don't have a long history in the United States. I am an immigrant. And in the 7 years I have lived in this country I chose as my own, I have learned a lot about the contribution the Catholic sisters, my sisters, have made and continue to make to the society, working tirelessly on so many fronts, taking care especially for those for whom not many would advocate if it weren't for the sisters. Translate that into any other country that is represented in this room and beyond. We need to work together to promote understanding of women religious, enhance their image, and advance their mission. CWR has been blessed with wonderful individuals that work together. Our executive director, Nicholas Schafer, just recently celebrated his 1-year anniversary with us. And no one needs convincing that he's making a huge impact on CWR. His energy and vision sometimes make it hard to keep up with him. Trust me. In a relatively short time, he was able to make CWR more widely known. The task we set for ourselves in the strategic plan to become a go-to organization seemed to be far-fetched, but now it is actually becoming a reality. Nick will share more with you in a few moments in his report. Susan Axley continues to take care of all things membership and is a great resource to all of us on a daily basis. We couldn't do without her. In recent months, we also contracted with Sondra Grover's company, who now serves CWR in all things financial, so much needed assistance. You will meet her tomorrow. She's joining us. Nick and Susan, we are very grateful for your dedication and hard work, so please help me thank both of them. With a very dedicated staff, the work we do is becoming more streamlined. Nick, Susan, and now Sondra support all CWR committees who are very hard-working bodies. I would like now to recognize all the individuals who commit themselves to CWR by volunteering time with various committees. Please help me thank them, and may I please ask the members of the committees to stand as I list them. The Finance Committee. Where are you? The Nominating Committee is decimated because Eileen and Julie are not here. Terry and Ryan. The 2017 Conference Committee. The Marketing Communications Committee. The Membership Committee. The Conference Site Selection Task Force. The Conference 2017 Scholarship Task Force. And last but not least, the Conference 2018 Committee. Thank you for all you do for CWR. We are very grateful to you. While committee work does require some time commitment, it is very rewarding. I would encourage you, especially newer members, who have not yet had a chance to experience that, to get involved. Feel free to approach any board member or committee members to ask questions. And I now invite Nicholas Schafer, CWR Executive Director, to give his report on the strategic plan.
Thank you, Sister Angela. Those are very exciting numbers demonstrating the growth of CWR. But now we need to take a look at the strategic plan, that document that governs our lives and the future of our organization. But first, I can't get over this morning's prayer. We heard from Sister Paulette and Sister Kateri about the symbolic power of water. And being here in Niagara Falls, I have to tell you, I love moving water. The falls, rivers, streams. I love these tremendous bodies in motion. I love to hear them. I love to be near them. As a kid, I loved the challenge of navigating moving bodies of water, be it in a canoe or a kayak, or on rare occasions, swimming with, or more often than not, against the current. My favorite campsites are always by moving water. There's something peaceful and reassuring to me in that constant motion. I think it's because moving water is a life-giving agent of change. And we need such life-giving agents of change in our world today. And I think we can't talk about the state of our organization, the state of our profession, without the acknowledgement of the world. Without the acknowledgement of the state of our world. The news of today can be challenging, even to the most optimistic among us. Just this week, we've seen political protests in Togo, suicide bombings in Libya killing 6, clashes between police and protesters in Spain, a still devastated Puerto Rico, Haiti, and India, all rebuilding after natural disasters. We're all aware of the terror attack in Edmonton last week and the terrible shootings in Las Vegas. Not to mention the number of other tragedies from around the globe that happen each day. If this news isn't enough to demonstrate my point, social media is there to finish the job. You heard Heather Mansfield yesterday. The shadow side of social media, of our digital life, is creeping into other parts of our lives. Since coming to CWR, I've facilitated some sessions with the Hesburgh Sabbatical Program and the Institute for Religious Formation at Catholic Theological Union in Chicago. My sessions always revolve around the theme of social media for ministry. Most of the folks that I work with in these sessions are not professional communicators. They're very clear about that. So we start with the basics. And one of the first slides in my deck has been, the internet is not the devil. And that's where we start, because there's a lot of fear surrounding the internet and social media. And I use this slide to try and break down some of those fears. But as I said, the shadow is very real. Trolls dominate Facebook feeds and comment sections. So recently, I've added a graphic and a subtitle. The internet is not the devil, but he might have some office space there. By way of example, about a month ago, I made what I believe to be a rather innocuous post on my Facebook page. In fact, it wasn't even my post. I reposted a link to an article that I found to be quite thought-provoking. Within a 12-hour window, I had the post removed due to the volume and vigor of the responses that it inspired. 7 friends offered me not so enlightened and not so solicited criticism. 4 accused me of being a soft-hearted, hippie, liberal dreamer who hasn't a clue about the real world. 3 claimed that I was a disillusioned white male with no compassion or understanding of how the real world actually works. The only thing they agreed on is that they were all mad at me. I will remind you, these comments were all about the exact same post that I added nothing of my own to, simply a repost. I have to say I was pretty upset. And these were not just Facebook friends. These were not the random acquaintances that we connect with as we pass along in life. These were my people. These were friends and family. And they were furious with me. But these critics helped me remember a fundamental truth, that most people lash out from a place of pain and suffering. And our world is in pain. And it's through that pain that we're becoming polarized. It seems to me that everyone is hurting. Everyone is tired of being typecast. Everyone is tired of being interrupted. Everyone is tired of their entire being, their entire ministry, their entire life's work being reduced and judged by a single statement or Facebook post. I don't claim this to be a truth, just my observation. But for my own part, I'm tired of the fighting. I'm tired of circular arguments, and I'm tired of never-ending news cycles. I'm tired of hatred and ugliness. My nightmare scenario is that I get so tired that I stop caring, because when enough good people become so desensitized that they stop caring, evil can and will prevail. Apathy is the enemy. Divisiveness is the enemy, not each other. Unity is difficult, it is painful, and it is a messy business. And so is love. But that's just what we as Christians and we as communicators are called to do. In times of doubt, we human beings tend to return to our roots, and for us, that's the catechism of the Catholic Church, in which we're reminded that the dignity of the human person is rooted in their creation in the image and likeness of God. And it seems in our culture, despite our country of origin, but in our current culture, we've forgotten that. Fundamental decency and respect seems to be out the window, whether it's the news, social media, in opinion sites passing themselves off as news, or in our interpersonal interactions with friends, family, and coworkers. I acknowledge this reality here and now because to pretend it doesn't exist shuts the door to discourse. Not the shout fests and the airing of opinions, but real and honest discourse. We all have failings and shortcomings, and we all need to be ministered to, and we all need to cut each other some slack. But how can we minister to someone when we can't get out of our own head long enough to step into their shoes? I know as a communicator, I'm going to make mistakes. I will be misunderstood by some. Some will feel that I'm sharing too much, and others that I'm sharing not enough. There are times when I will come across as too strong or not strong enough. In the end, I think the most reasonable people want the same things: freedom, joy, a measure of safety, a network of support, and general peace. Each of us, however, finds that in a different way, and this is where communication becomes not a job or a career or a profession, but a vocation and a ministry. It has to be more than technical skills, though, and metrics, at least in what we do. Communicating for religious life is not like PR in a secular nonprofit. It's not like marketing for Pepsi, where we believe that if we write the correct post and publish it at the appropriate time and link to the most accurate research, that we will elicit a specific and predictable response from our audience. What I'm suggesting is counter to our current culture. But we know this. In the Gospels, when the apostles were given the gifts of the Spirit and could speak so that each hearer could understand the words in their own native tongue, I thought that was it. But the reality is they could hear, but that crowd did not necessarily understand. St. Paul heard the message for years, but it wasn't until he was struck down that he experienced a conversion. My point is that I think our friends in vocation ministry are a little bit ahead of us in this respect. They're very aware of the God component in vocation work. You can have the best recruitment pitch, the most robust spirituality, but it is God that makes a call in a vocation setting. Oh, there's a lot we can do to nurture those vocations, but the return on investment can't be measured the same way as a big corporation marketing campaign. Might there be a similar point with communication, especially for those of us communicating the mission and ministry of religious life, of Catholic sisters? God must facilitate the change of mind and heart, and we are here to do our part to keep the doors open and the channels populated with rich and honest, life-giving content. This is where CWR comes into its own. We're about more than the technical skills needed to be successful communicators. Yes, we provide that kind of support to our members, but we take it a step further. We put professional work of communication, of public relations, the best practices of marketing, all through the lens of the Catholic Church, the spirituality of our foundresses, and the love of Christ. As we share this model with our sisters and brothers in other parts of the world, we cross cultural lines. We break down professional silos as we celebrate that collaboration between teams of communicators, leadership, fundraisers, vocations, and peace and justice ministers, all in the name of advancing the mission of the congregation. We nurture emerging networks of communicators around the world, and in turn, our association becomes stronger. Last year, I shared with you some of our big plans, reviewing membership structures and benefits, international collaborations and support, recruitment of new members, development of awareness campaigns, and the production of unique CWR-specific training resources. I'm pleased to report that we've made some major strides in all of those areas since we were together last in Indianapolis. Over the summer, the board proposed changes to the bylaws, allowing for a restructuring of the definition of memberships within the organization. And you, our member, answered that recommendation with a resounding affirmative. Your vote expanded our membership levels, allowing the door to be open for more individual and associate members to join fully in the work of CWR. Members of leadership, development, vocation ministries, and peace and justice offices, professionals dedicated to communicating the mission and ministry of Catholic Sisters, now have a seat at our table. CWR continues to value our friendships with organizations similarly committed to the rich future of our church and women religious. The Canadian Religious Conference has been a strong ally over the past years, most recently provided much needed guidance and support in the development of content and promotion of this very conference. The International Union of Superiors General is a vibrant collaborator and partner. This year we've developed common resources for congregations and formation in communication for individual communicators and leadership alike. This partnership took many forms, starting last year's conference, where Patrizia Morganti and Sister Ana Sanchez joined us in Indianapolis. In May, I joined them in Rome for a week of meetings with UISG and other community partners to discuss a future of our shared expertise and resources amongst our two organizations. During that visit, we presented seminars on communication to audience of Rome-based communicators, of leaders, and of generalate staff, demonstrating the kind of collaborations both UISG and CWR members might come to expect in the future. It was also during this trip that we were able to meet with the head of the Vatican Press Office, Dr. Greg Burke, as well as the directors of the Secretariat on Communication. And as Dr. McQueen said yesterday, this Secretariat is in the process of transformation, but these changes present an opportunity for collaboration with CWR. Here's where our commitment to be a resource to other organizations extends all the way to the highest sphere of influence in our world, the Holy See. And our collaborations with UISG are just taking off. In 2016, we started a process of developing webinars with original content relevant to CWR members and those communicating for religious life. Beginning in November and December of 2017 and continuing throughout 2018, UISG, CWR, and Multimedia International will produce a communication seminar, training seminars in English, Spanish, and Italian. The first English sessions will be presented on November 20th and December 13th of this year. They will feature topics inspired by Pope Francis's messages on World Communication Day and topics that are relevant to our members. In just 30 days from now, I will be joining UISG Constellation delegates and staff from around the world in a series of workshops and formation for leadership on the topics of communication. Our trip to Manila will produce prepared materials for this training that will be compiled into a handbook and widely distributed to help congregations to start, reorganize, and enhance their communication programs. There will be more opportunities to provide joint formation for leaders and communicators in this critical ministry. But with each new collaboration, the story of Catholic Sisters reaches new audience and more congregations find their voice. While in Rome, I was introduced to the president of Multimedia International, that Rome-based collaborative of communicators for religious life. It turns out that the president is none other than Sister Patricia Stortz of the School Sisters of Notre Dame, a longtime CWR member. It really is a small world. MMI brings yet another dimension to our joint efforts to produce original content webinars, and they add another layer of perspective as CWR discerns our role and listens to the needs of the international community. Now, before you think all of our collaborations take place overseas, there's plenty of work that's being done here around headquarters. Our emerging community of partner organizations in Chicago continues to find new ways to collaborate, to share resources, and to support one another. Groups like the National Religious Vocation Conference, Giving Voice, the Religious Formation Conference, National Catholic Sisters Project, and the Institute for Consecrated Life at Catholic Theological Union meet on a regular basis to coordinate our efforts. We're very fortunate to have several of these representatives from these groups with us here exhibiting and as partners. And I'd ask for those of you that are with us to please stand so that we can recognize you and thank you for your support. During National Catholic Sisters Week this past March, our group prepared a prayer service that took place at CTU and set a strong tone locally for our celebration of the Catholic Sisters. We came together again to celebrate Brothers' Day. And then in August, our 6 organizations coordinated our presence at the LCWR Assembly, creating a mega booth, complete with a selfie station. In addition to a really fun way to engage with attendees, we ensured that a little reminder of our collaboration went home with everyone and produced this banner that was the backdrop for all of the photos. While this was a cute marketing strategy, the real value came not from the visuals, but from the conversations that emerged when visitors met not one, but many of our partners. The amount of new relationships that emerged during that week was tremendous. And it's from these new relationships that we value and welcome in new partners and new members. We've welcomed many new members since Indianapolis last year, from Ireland, Canada, Italy, and the US. Our Irish members continue to meet regularly, and as they welcome new members to their regional group, they continue to push themselves to new levels of professional development. The growth of this region is largely due to the efforts of Sister Patricia Lanahan, who is here today with us. Her efforts have produced very rich fruits, and as this group grows and they become more sophisticated in their operations and support of one another, we see benefits rippling out from their work. And there's more to come. We're in the early stages of conversations with sisters from around the globe about the possibility of CWR supporting their ministries in Colombia, in Zambia, and in the Philippines. These talks are new and they're fragile, but they're starting, and that's very exciting. Conversations with prospective members are always fascinating to me. One of the questions that I'm eager to ask is, how did you hear about CWR? Oftentimes it's by word of mouth, but this year there have been 3 programs, 3 initiatives that took place, which may be signaling a change. 3 awareness campaigns have taken place since we gathered in Indianapolis last year. 2 launched in conjunction with the National Catholic Sisters Week, and 1 in anticipation of this conference. Kindness, Get in the Habit, known simply as the Kindness Campaign, was designed and produced by the Sisters United News of the Upper Mississippi Valley. I think I got all of that right, more commonly known as SUN. This was a comprehensive campaign that was designed to provide clean graphics and tight copy in order to present a unified message about Catholic sisters, their values, and the various ministries in which they were engaged. In addition to the design package and campaign schedule that was shared with every CWR member for their use, the SUN Group prepared an aggressive advertising campaign in their region, which benefited all members of the group and our organization as a whole. This gave very high visibility to the campaign and produced some intriguing outcomes that will have a direct impact on the future campaigns and awareness efforts of CWR. Would the members of the SUN Group who are here with us please stand so we may thank you for your support of this effort. And just down the road a little ways in St. Louis, our regional group of communicators there produced the We Have Faith in You St. Louis campaign, which also launched during National Catholic Sisters Week. This campaign similarly utilized a variety of advertising strategies and strategic placements of the message to share that message with not only the general public, but with a specific and intentional outreach to Catholics in the pews. And market-specific advertising by for this campaign was put into the bulletins of over 100 parishes in the St. Louis metro area. Again, the data and the knowledge learned from this campaign will have a wonderful impact on our future awareness campaigns. Would the members of the St. Louis Communicators group please stand so we may thank you for your efforts on our behalf. And lastly, and certainly not least, the cycling, and they always have to make an entrance. The Cycling with the Sisters campaign brought attention to the ministry and mission of Catholic Sisters, as well as the CWR conference. Traditional media coverage and a robust social media presence produced significant chatter. The analytics, we haven't even begun to dive into them. But CWR Facebook likes jumped over 200 from the start of this campaign and the promotion of conference, and we have exceeded 1,000 likes on our Facebook page as of last night. Alan Johnson, who many of you have met this week, who I swear I just saw here. Okay. Alan Johnson, who many of you met this week and have worked with on the videos projects that he's working on, and Sister Maxine Kolach of A Nun's Life Ministry, were instrumental to accompanying the writers and providing video, photography, social media support. And some of that footage has been compiled into a short video that I'm going to show you here in just 1 minute. But I also want to thank a few others that did some tremendous work behind the scenes. Mr. Gary Lonke, who was instrumental in orchestrating the media coverage for this event. And the Lake Country Bike Shop for their excellent guidance and support. I'd like to share with you some of the footage that was taken on this trip, because it really does capture the spirit and the essence of what we accomplished. I'm supposed to tell you that this music track is royalty-free. It's okay that we use it. And Alan said this might be a little rough, so be gentle, but here we go.
Executive Director for Mercy Center for Women. I'm out here today cycling for social justice and for all the important work and ministries the sisters provide, not only to our community, but to numerous communities throughout the United States.
I'm Kathy Dahlkemper. I'm the county executive in Erie County, and the women religious in Erie County do such amazing work in our community in all sorts of areas, and I'm just here today to support them in their mission.
I'm here because I really love riding my bike, and I'm friends with the sisters, the Mendicant sisters, and they invited me to the ride, and I work on the same issues they work on: social justice, alleviating poverty, education, and just offering hope and possibility to people.
I work at Emmaus Ministries, which is a soup kitchen, food pantry, and the kids' cafe for the Benedictine sisters. And I'm biking because I think it's awesome.
I'm here with these wonderful sisters and some lay people too. And we're doing the Cycling for the Sisters, a century ride. We're at our second stop where we pray for poverty. And this is amazing. The day's beautiful, the prayer is insightful, and we hope that all of you can join us in thinking of the people in poverty and all that it means. And the physical endurance of this trip is overwhelming for some of us. We pray that we stay healthy. Thanks.
Yes, we checked. Sorry, page turn. We were very blessed to have 17 riders with us. In that group, we included a former congresswoman, a microbiologist, several Catholic sisters, oblates, novices, a couple of avid cyclists who just thought it sounded like a good time, and a brand new CWR member who had been on the job less than a month when she signed up for the ride. Dinah, would you please stand? And finally, this project was the brainchild of two CWR members, board member Stephanie Hall and Sister Linda Romy. It wouldn't have gotten off the ground. One wheel wouldn't have rolled without your inspiration and support, so thank you. Look, these have been big plans, and they were made possible thanks to each of you and your willingness to participate, to offer feedback, to give of your time and your talents, and to help us give life to these exciting developments. In a very tangible way, these successes were made possible thanks to the vision and the support of the Conrad N. Hilton Foundation and our other many partners. CWR was built on big dreams, and those dreams inspire big plans. But thanks to the generosity and the faith of the foundation, we're seeing these plans become a reality, not in a distant future, but today. We've accomplished a lot in the past year, but looking ahead to 2018, there remains a great deal of work to be done. We have to continue to get our house in order. That means continually evaluating how we're serving you, our members. It means continuing to refine our internal structures, policies, and procedures so that we can become as efficient as possible. It means systematically reviewing our internal and external communication strategies, our social media plans, our print materials, and our operational models. We continue to look a little further on down the road to welcome in new members, to ensure that we're being a good steward of our resources, and to remain a good friend to our partner organizations and the communities that we serve. We must stay vigilant in our awareness of the issues that are of the greatest concern to our congregations, and we must listen. We must listen to hear the needs of our church, the concerns of our sisters. We must listen to hear how we might best serve our prospective members who come with unique cultures and contexts and circumstances. This may require new kinds of flexibility, and we need to listen to one another. As we gather here in Canada, in sight of these great falls, we're charged by the current of our togetherness. We're charged by our values that bring us together, and we're charged by the differences we bring to share with one another. We're charged by our commitment to advancing the mission of Catholic sisters, and mostly we're charged by our commitment to the gospel. We come from many congregations, many spiritualities, and many parts of the world. But each time we speak with one voice, we hear the whisper of the kingdom of God. We are charged by that current, and I believe it will carry us far. Thank you.
Just a sec. Thank you, Nick. I don't know about you, but whenever I listen to Nick giving his reports when we meet at board meetings, it's both exhausting and energizing. Exhausting because there is a lot of activity, and I don't know how people can do it. I'm glad I'm not an executive director. Okay, I am organizing here. Good. This conference has been truly significant, as it is our first international conference, and we are very happy to be here in Canada, in beautiful Niagara Falls. Thank you to all our Canadian members. We are here because of all of you. May I ask all our Canadian members to please stand, and our guests, participants in this conference, so we can recognize you all. Thank you so much. As CWR continues to grow, we can clearly see that we are also expanding slowly but surely as an international organization. And Nick already mentioned that. At this time, I would like to take a moment and recognize again, perhaps, two individuals for their commitment to CWR and its mission. Sister Patricia Lenihan. She's a religious sister of charity from Dublin, Ireland. And for several years, she was the only Irish CWR member, but she decided to do something about it. Recognizing the need for closer collaboration between the congregations in Ireland, she was a driving force behind establishing a local group of communicators that began to meet regularly. At present, as we already saw in the statistics, we have 10 Irish members. We hope that group will continue to grow. Sister Pat is definitely mission-driven, and we thank her for her outstanding engagement in the work for Catholic sisters in Ireland. Sister Pat, can you please begin? We are very happy that you were able to join us this year again for this conference. Another CWR member who works with us very closely and remains very involved in her daily work for the sisters around the world. She wasn't able to join us because as an international member, it's hard to travel every year. Nick already mentioned her name, but I want to say it again, and I'm hoping she's watching us, or maybe she will watch this presentation later. Her name is Patricia Morgante, Communications Officer for International Union of Superiors General, UISG. We can easily say that Patricia, as a CWR member, opened a door for us to many opportunities. We have already seen fruits of that when Nick visited Rome earlier this year, and you heard about that trip in his report after he came back. Thanks to this collaboration, he will go again to the Philippines later this year in November. Thank you, Patricia, for your vision and openness. And I really hope you're watching. If you're watching, hi. We have two outgoing board members this year, Eileen Dickerson and Kate Martin. Unfortunately, Eileen wasn't able to join us to attend the conference this year. Kate wasn't able to come downstairs today. She's not feeling too well. However, we are grateful to both Eileen and Kate for their outstanding leadership and commitment during their terms. Eileen also served as the board chair for 2 years. Kate has done an amazing job finding sponsors for our annual conferences and attracting exhibitors. They will both be missed. So, thank you. Several of us are celebrating their anniversaries as CWR members, and we have member recognition pins for you. I now invite Jennifer Brandlon, chair of the membership committee, to assist with this process.
We have members who have been with us for various periods of time. I'm only going to be reading the names of those who are present with us, but there are many more. For those who have been members of CWR for 10 years, Dawn Gruba, would you please come forward and accept your pin? Jennifer Kaminsky. Gary Lonke. Carol Schreiber. Florence Smith. Try not to get too far ahead of Sister Angela. We also have 5-year pins for Denise Bunkhatch, Sister Georgia Kitt, Cecilia Ruppel, and Jenny Russo. It's killing me not to read all these other names. Let's thank them in our hearts. Thank you.
So for the second half hour of my address, no, I'm kidding. In looking at the schedule, it is time for no, I'm getting a panicked look. Hold on a second. Right. Sorry, hold on. Okay. All right, I didn't misread the schedule. We just have some impromptu announcements. Okay, so if Stephanie would come up, we have a few announcements. After that, please visit the exhibitors. If you've been meeting with or planning to meet with Alan Johnson to do an interview for the video, please try and do that today because he leaves first thing in the morning. And then lunch is at 11:30 upstairs in the Watermark, and we are back in here at 1 p.m. We'll turn it over to Stephanie for the other couple of announcements, and then please visit the exhibitors and have a good afternoon.
Thanks, Nick. Just a couple quick announcements. First of all, a minor schedule change this afternoon because we made a little boo-boo. So if you look at your schedule, of course I didn't bring mine up. Right after the first presentation, I believe. Thank you. Thank you, Stephanie. After the 1 o'clock presentation, Communicating to a Divided Audience, which we have a break in the middle of that, and then when that is done at 3:15, and your schedule indicates a 30-minute break. That was only supposed to be a 15-minute break, and I know there won't be any complaints because we gave you a lot of extra breaks yesterday. Anyway, because the panel, Creating a Culture of Effective Communication, which is going to be a great panel, is actually an hour-and-a-half panel. So they will actually be starting at 3:30, and it will go until 5. There'll still be plenty of time for those that are going on the outing this evening. But so again, just to recap, the panel will begin at 3:30 and will go till 5. So we're shortening the break after Communicating to a Divided Audience to a 15-minute break. So everybody, please make note of that. Another reminder again about breakfast tomorrow morning, which is a full breakfast as a buffet, and the buffet starts at 7:30. We do have a breakfast speaker tomorrow morning who that will begin at 8 o'clock. So please, please, please make sure you come down and get your breakfast and be seated before 8 o'clock so we can minimize any distractions or interruptions for our breakfast speaker. And then just a reminder for CSSJ communicators, I believe we're all having lunch together in the private room up in the Watermark dining, same restaurant, but I think there's a separate space for us. CSSJ communicators? Right, Joanne? Okay. And Pippa's going to talk about tonight.
Actually, it's a message from Susan about tonight, since this whole St. Joan thing was my idea. But anyway, if you are going on tonight's outing, please meet in the lobby at 5:30 p.m. The bus is leaving at 5:35 p.m. Tickets for the show will be handed out as you board the bus. Dinner is on your own. Okay? Thank you. Oh yes, the show is at 8. It'll say on your ticket. Yeah, the Shaw Festival takes place at Niagara on the Lake. It's about 30 minutes from here. There are lots of restaurants in and around the theater, and there's actually a very good cafe restaurant inside the theater. So that's where I'm planning to eat tonight.